Good morning, guys. Today I'm doing Marshall's Mint a little earlier than normal. So, here we are. Today, this has been an interesting week. That challenge with love, am I allowing myself to receive it? What am I withholding love from myself? Those kinds of things really activated a lot in me. It really brought a lot of things forward. Man, I look like I have a sunburn. I don't. Maybe it's just my monitors. But it was very fascinating to reach into and explore this element of it, right? It's what am I withholding from myself with love? And almost immediately, I began to realize I was carrying an enormous amount of tension around being perfect, around showing up a certain way, around being a certain way. And I had absorbed other people's behaviors, their expectations, their points of view on things, their behaviors as either as a leader or as a business owner or as a person. And it really, that's why I didn't do any videos this week. I just stopped. I was like, I need to get back in contact with what's behind this. And it really brought me to a realization that we have a lot of toxic, nasty mind programming running around. Like mine compared to even a year ago is much healthier than it, was before then. But it really is just looking at what my mind was telling me, because we with the codependency and with the abuse we've dealt with, our minds are hyper vigilant, right? They're out there trying to find the bad thing and protect us from the bad thing. In reality, there isn't much bad going on. And so when I started to realize that it's having all this nasty mind programming, and then I was reacting to it as though it was real, it was creating a lot of physical pressure on me, I stopped. And what I did, and it's something very simple, and this is something that'll help you guys too, so I took a piece of paper, I drew a line down the center, and on the left I put what's real, and on the right I said what's perception. And then I wrote down what I saw was happening outside of me. Not what I thought was happening, but what I could observe happening outside of me. That was very, very important. So, I wrote down students are happy, most of them are succeeding. The group is happy, they're giving positive feedback. My friends are happy, my kids are happy, I'm feeling good. We're safe. Nothing bad is happening. Nothing's threatening us, that kind of thing. And on perception, I wrote down what I thought was happening, what my thoughts were telling me were truth. And it's like, people hate you, you're a pile of garbage, you're a fraud, things like that started showing up. And it was very interesting to contrast them, and it really illuminated the reality that my mind has still got some garbage in it. It's got these false thoughts going on. They're just really useless to us. If you're new to the group, you're going to hear this a lot, but if you've been here for a while in the community, here on Facebook and YouTube, or if you're one of my students and clients, you've heard this a billion times. What's light is truth, and what's heavy is false for us. And this is a concept that comes from a system called access consciousness. And I was looking at my thoughts, and man, were they heavy. But I wasn't catching it. I was trying to argue with them. I was trying to reason and fix them. That old habit got in there, and I didn't even realize it. And so I started nailing that to the wall. I'm like, okay, well, is this really heavy? Yep. Okay, then that's false. I can safely let it go. I don't have to carry this anymore. Very, very important habit for us, guys, to cultivate, is that we don't have to figure it out. We don't need to know where it came from. We can actually safely let it go and discover who we are without it. And that's why I didn't do any videos on love, for instance, is because I needed to get more in contact with me rather than this absorbed experience that I was unconsciously trying to be, which is just crazy making, honestly. There's no reason to be that. but because of our programming, it can really get in there. So, nasty mind programming has been coming up, and now I'm beginning to address it. This is how I address it. And the easiest way I have found with it is not affirmations. It's not trying to force ourselves to think differently. It's to see things from a different point of view and validate the reality of that point of view. Okay, and that's why I did the paper with the line down the middle, what is real, what is perception. Because then my mind's going, things are working. I'm doing a good job. I'm okay. Because now I can prove it to my brain, which makes it a lot easier for me to receive and integrate and accept that as a fact. Plus, it doesn't put me into a fantasy, because sometimes things aren't going well and I need to be aware of that and address the problems that are going on, right? So this keeps us more of in a present, objective take on our reality. Another thing I've noticed is a habit within me that just discards positive feedback. It makes it less than the negative one and maximizes the negative one. So I'm working with that one. And I've encountered this in different forms before, but I'm like, it's really got to change now. And this is where the second part of my description comes in, realizing a cliché's reality there is, there's a saying out there, I don't know who came up with it, but it says you need to become the person today to have to be the accomplishment tomorrow, that kind of thing. So if I'm going to be a leader, I need to start thinking and seeing the world through that lens. If I am going to be a confident person, I need to see the world through that lens. So it comes back to that principle of embodiment that I talk a lot about and teach within Codependence to Confidence, largely in that. That's one of the 3 steps of the heal process. It's the 3rd step. So we got to embody who we become when we see ourselves through love or confidence or joy or peace or whatever attribute we're attempting to integrate and be. But it really hit me hard that, hey, I need to start thinking and interpreting reality differently, and that difference needs to come through a lens that has some specific attributes to it. So like, what does it mean to be a leader? Then when I know what that means for me, that defines the lens by which I see the world through. Does that make sense? So we're really talking about mindset stuff. We're talking about kind of the programming, the meta in which we see the world. And it may not feel relevant to you guys, but it's actually critical to you too, because if you have a mindset of codependency, right? We have a mindset of being helpless or powerless or inadequate or unlovable. These are dominant attributes we've absorbed into ourselves, and then we behave accordingly. Okay? That it's like an equation. If I believe X, do Y. And so, like, you've seen those pictures where ducks are surrounded by, like, swans, and they act like swans, but they're a duck. You know they're a duck because you can objectively see what it is, but the duck doesn't get it, Or like a dog that was raised by cats acts more like cats, or a cat raised by dogs acts more like dogs, because the creature absorbs its dominant experience and then makes it its own truth. That's what we've done. It's not really a bad thing. Every human being does it. It's natural. The only thing is we got to now question what we've absorbed and see if that's actually real, right? Am I actually an inadequate or insecure person? No, this is why I like those questions I often ask on Wednesdays is, who would you be without or who would you be with? Because now we're dislodging from that association and discovering something bigger about ourselves. And so this week, as I was exploring love for me, I was seeing this was getting really loud for me. It's like, hey, you're absorbing all of this negative chatter in your head as fact, and then you're behaving accordingly, which causes me to shrink and to be scared and to feel weak. Is that really who I am? is that who I want to be? And that's what I've explored. I'm like, yeah, that's not me. I'm a leader. I'm playful. I can be a little chompy at times. I can be stubborn. But these are positive things in the right place, right? And so I started letting go. And letting go means, oh, I don't have to analyze it. I don't have to figure it out. It's just I'm aware of it. Now I'm going to just hold space with it and see what else is beyond it, really? And make contact with that. And start to maybe integrate a little of that and see what that does for my life. So that's what I've been exploring this week, guys. As I move more into an expansion with business, with reaching out and connecting with you guys, creating more connection, more community, more results that matter for you, for me, and kind of thinking about this thing through the lens of a movement, in that we are tapping into our brilliance. That's why I asked the question about titles. And it was very interesting to me to see what people thought as a title, you know? I love you, whole, freedom, brilliance, warrior, badass, things like that. And I think kind of the energy of it is that we're brilliance warriors, or that we're brilliance, or that we're brilliance love, these kind of things. We're badasses, guys, and we need to have a title that helps us frame our mindset a specific way. And so I'm going to continue to talk, we're going to have a discussion on this, because I want this to be it needs to be relevant to you guys, right? Because if you're going to bring on a title for yourself that guides you and gives you some framework, you should be, why should I make that choice unilaterally? That makes no sense. So really fundamentally, it's about giving ourselves a chance, giving ourselves a point of view, rather, that enlightens us to more of who we are beyond this codependency. Because when we stop being codependent, and when we stop being trauma, and we stop being insecure and all that, then we start being our brilliance. We start being our strength, our courage. We start being our love. That's where we find ourselves again. And that's really what I got out of this week is, Marshall, when you come through love, you're going to see all the bullshit you keep absorbing first. And then you're going to see the brilliance that's already there, that you can lean into and you can trust. Okay? So we're going to be exploring more of this as things go along. Very interesting as well with the poll on the next 8-week training being on purpose. This is very, very congruent with that, very important with it. I'll be announcing more information on that, because we'll be going with the purpose one. So yeah, what you think? Yeah. Nicole says, the way you see the people you help is so very powerful. Thank you, Nicole. Guys, I really do appreciate your feedback. It helps me know how things are functioning. One of my big sticky things is effectiveness. So I really, really appreciate it. And I ask it a lot. I ask it in surveys. I ask it in the group. I ask it in emails. And it's really, this is a personal experience for me. I'm not a business owner trying to make money. I'm a business owner trying to create impact, right? And to move a very big amount of pain out of the world. And the most easiest way for me to do that is through business, because then I have the means to keep doing that. And it expands my world, expands yours. And so to me, it's a very personal thing. We're working with things that really matter. You, your pain, your hope, your love. So yeah, so it's a big deal. Okay, guys, I appreciate you. I'll share more, obviously, next week in Next Marshall's Minute. On how this expands. Take from it. Let me know what you get from it. And you guys have a great weekend. And I'll talk with you guys next week. Okay? Okay, guys. Bye-bye.